All right, Harry. In Matthew chapter 7, it starts off by this in verse 1. Do not judge, right? How many times we have heard that over our lifespan, but what are your thoughts on this beginning here?
Yeah, it is. So we're not allowed to judge, is what we've been told again and again. Try verse 5.
Okay, it says this: You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye.
Yeah. So first make sure that we're seeing right. Okay. But then we're told to do something and we're to help our brother also because the objective is not to leave them to go to rack and ruin either, because if they've got something in their life. So first we clean up our own life so we see things the way Jesus does. And then we do help others.
Actually,
Verse,
if I could touch on that for a second, right?
yeah.
It's like this. Let's say somebody smoked before in their life, right?
Yep.
And they cleared that and they got rid of this habit that was a nasty habit. And they see their brother who is smoking now, right? They can go to them in a loving manner, in a gentle way, and be like, hey, look here, like I used to do this, but this is, how much better life is now that I'm not doing it. I can breathe better. I feel more physically fit and so forth. They can gently approach somebody, and of course if they've got rid of this speck in their own eye.
Yeah. Because you certainly couldn't do it while you were still
No,
having
exactly, right.
it. Yeah. So moving on for verse 15, it says, watch out for false prophets. Okay, so we're to judge there, right? That's a judging event. False prophets, Jesus says they're nice on the outside, they're wicked on the inside. Jesus says you'll recognize them by their fruits. And that's always a good way of checking it. So if a person is proud, arrogant, greedy, the fruits of the spirit aren't in their life. So even if they're preaching the right word, if their lifestyle is unpleasant, that's not good. If their teaching is different from Jesus' teaching, okay, that's obviously another clue, because the gospel is clear what Jesus taught. And if that's not what they're teaching, they could be a false prophet. Or they're making prophecies saying, oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. I'd always encourage you to write that down, what they said, what day they said it, and what the closing date was. Because if they're teaching stuff that doesn't happen, there's a good chance they're not what they said they were. So in summary, it says, do not judge. But think of what Jesus said. He also said, do not judge another man's servant.
What
I
does that
think a
mean?
lot of I think a lot about that because every Christian, you and I, we're all servants to Jesus. We're all doing our best. We're living as we see appropriate, but we do not know if a person is a Judas or a Peter. Like when those 12 disciples there, Judas and Peter didn't look that far apart. And I don't think we really need to be doing that kind of judgment. There was a huge difference, but it was hidden. And I don't think that is for us to judge. Your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. Just even my own life, right? I've said this to people. I'm like, there's times when I've screwed up really bad, just represented myself horribly. And imagine like someone said, there's times I'm sure if I looking out on myself from like a third party perspective, I'd be like, this guy's not a Christian at all. And I've wept in front of the Lord and was like, oh, I didn't get that one right. I'm so sorry. In the whole Peter aspect, right? Where, we got to be careful just quickly cutting people off for forever on certain scenarios.
Yeah. So false prophets and Christian pretenders, Jesus called them out. Like he was quite clear and quick to tell them. Of course, Jesus is Jesus, but letters of Paul, Peter, and John, they called out false prophets all the time, and they were quite a struggle. The letters in Revelation to the churches, Jesus calls them out in that. But it's interesting. I believe in the Garden of, well, I know in the Garden of Eden, we had the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And we were given to understand right from wrong right then. And we have had to maintain that since. Galatians 5, the last paragraph, it says to the third step of a Christian life is to know right from wrong and then to teach others. And the concept is that we need to know right from wrong, and then we can be a blessing to those around us. There are a lot of hidden things that we don't know the answer and we just have to let it go. But if we see carnality in the Christian faith, we have to recognize it and call it out. It's just not okay to say, well, it's not for me to judge. We are to judge improper behavior as the behavior being incorrect. We don't always know the person. That person could just have a situation that day or this or that, or maybe they're growing into the faith. We don't really know, but we are also to recognize right from wrong, and to help people if they are wonky on something. Say, hey bud, like where do you get thinking like that? Are you
Yeah, and the
sure?
most important
Yeah.
thing is do it in a loving way, but use
Yeah.
righteous judgment, you know?
Yeah. But then we have people that are just way out in left field, and we have to recognize that and be content that that's where they are. And you can't change that, just work around it. We don't want to even contend with them because I don't believe they're part of the family. But we have to know, but I believe judging is relevant. We have to take the beam out of our eye and then help our brother.
Amen. Thanks a lot for that, Harry.
Thank you.